Thank you everyone for coming today and listening to me talk about audiobooks. Today I'm just going to give a high-level overview of the work that the Publishing Working Group has been doing in relation to audiobooks. This is an update as we just recently published the first public working draft of the spec. So today I'm just going to introduce who we are if you're not already aware of us. I'm also going to be talking about the use case behind audiobooks and why we're doing this, what the challenges are today, how do we translate those challenges into specifications, what we're looking for in feedback, and what we're going to be doing in the road ahead. So this is the Publishing Working Group. We actually just had a face-to-face in May in Boston, so this is us there. Notice our very good EPUB t-shirts. Our goal is to bring the modern web platform and all of the wonderful things that it has to the publishing industry. We work from use cases, so we look at what the industry needs and we try to translate that into specifications. And right now we're working on various profiles for what we're calling the web publication spec to address the specific needs of certain industries, like audiobooks. And audiobooks will be the first profile. So what is the audiobooks use case, and what are we looking for? Audiobooks is actually a very mature industry in publishing. Thomas Edison, amongst his many creations, actually also created the first audiobook. It was a recording of Mary Had a Little Lamb. It was done as a demonstration when he introduced his new invention, the phonograph, and it was in 1877. In 1931, the AFB and the Library of Congress created the Talking Books program to provide reading materials for injured war veterans and blind people. And in the 50s, Germany followed with a very similar program in their country. And this was the first really public use of audiobooks. In 1994, the Audio Publishers Association decided to rebrand and call talking books audiobooks, and it became the industry standard that we use today. And in 1997, digital came to audiobooks with the creation of Audible.com and their first digital media player. It was a small device. It could only hold 2 hours of audio at a time. I believe it also ran on batteries. And it brought the convenience of direct download to the audio world. Today, audiobooks is a $3+ billion industry, depending on what numbers you look at, and it represents the biggest growth in publishing that we've seen since the ebook revolution. And it's just growing. The APA is only, according to the APA, the market is only getting bigger. 2.5 billion of the market alone is just in the US. We see huge growth in countries like France, Spain, India, and China. The audiobooks industry is very mature, and many of the current players and the companies that got started are in the space today, and they're involved in the sale and production of ebooks. Some are even involved in the standardization of EPUB. But today, there is no common audiobook specification to work with. So, when we talk about audiobooks, what are we thinking about in terms of use cases? The main use cases can really be divided into 4 areas. The listening, a user should be able to listen to their audiobook end to end without any sort of input or interruption. Portability, a user should be able to download, stream, or offline their audiobook instead of being dependent on a web connection. The navigation, a user should always know or be able to find out where they are in their audiobook. And accessibility, a user, regardless of their ability, should be able to enjoy the content. Very basic. But what is the challenge? Right now, with no specification, it's a bit frustrating. I feel a lot like the statue sometimes. There's no standard distribution, delivery, or production standard in the industry today. Every company involved has their own way of doing things. Some companies have set up their own standards for how they like to receive their content, but in general, it's kind of a mismatch. So let's say I want to make an audiobook. I'm a small publisher. I have decided that I want to create a new edition of Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte, which is my favorite book. I need a few things as I get started. I need obviously a cover image for my book. I need some audio files. I need a track list to identify all of my audio files and what they mean. And I have some supplemental content for my book. I have some pictures of Hayworth House. And I'm a small publisher, so I do some direct retail with some of my retailers, but I also have a distributor that helps me out. And my distributors have different standards. My retailers have different standards. And so what I do is I send many files to many places in many formats. My first distributor has a standard, very helpful. They want to receive their audio files in the MP3 format, very normal. They want me to send a track list by email as a text file. They would like the cover in JPEG, and the supplement content should be in PDF format for them. My second distributor doesn't have a standard. So because I already made my files in MP3, I'm going to send them MP3 files. I'm going to send them the track list in text format, because I've already got that, cover image in JPEG, but they don't support supplemental content, so I won't be sending it to them. One of my retailers prefers me to send my track list in JSON format. That is the format that they accept. The audio files are delivered to their FTP in a folder. But not all of the files, because they don't take all of the files. They take the manifest separately and the metadata separately, and the cover image is sent via email. And retailer B prefers that everything is formatted in M4B format, and the metadata and the other files are delivered separately. One of my retailers probably also doesn't accept supplemental content. And everyone is different. And because there are different standards, there's different problems. As a retailer, and I can speak from personal experience from Kobo, who sells audiobooks, and I was part of the audiobooks implementation, retailers can receive bad or incorrect data. The user experience can suffer because of this. I can say, in our experience, we've seen because tables of contents are not delivered with proper lengths, that weird things can happen in an audiobook player. I've also heard stories of tables of contents being manually generated by a person sitting in a room with a pair of headphones and a text document. And that there's a major company doing that right now, but I won't say their name. Audiobooks in the system are siloed generally to the retail or store platform that you purchase it from. Not all retailers allow for download. Some retailers do. But generally, the system is also very limiting to small or independent content creators. We can think about today in the EPUB space how easy it is for an independent author to publish their book online on any platform. Small independent audiobooks publishers don't always have the same choice. But how do we turn these challenges into specifications? There's a lot of stuff going on here. There's a lot of industry forces at play. How do we turn it into a single option for production? We looked at the current audiobooks market. What makes an audiobook unique from an ebook, a PDF, or anything like that? We looked at all of the apps. Many of the app companies are actually in the room at the publishing working group. Google, Blackstone, and Kobo are all present. We looked at Apple. We looked at Audible. We looked at everything to see what the common use cases are. What is the common experience? And we also looked at what are some use cases that we think are quite common, but are not currently either represented or underserved by the current audiobook experience. What can we add to the experience that the modern web platform can actually provide for us that is not currently there? So we have 4 new use cases, or 4 new ways to look at them. The first one is supplemental content, images, graphs, data, and any non-audio content that a content creator believes is needed to complete the experience of enjoying the audiobook. The table of contents, we are providing a rich HTML formatted table of contents for content parity with EPUBs or print books. This gives the user the ability to always know where they are when they are in the content, but also to enjoy that same level of granularity that we often see with EPUBs or print books. Synchronized media, this is the follow-up to the well-known EPUB 3 media overlays specification. Sync audio content with text. It gives users the opportunity to potentially move between text and rich audio. It also gives users the opportunity to have text that follows along with that audio experience. And it makes the content fully accessible to all users. And packaging, providing a method for business-to-business interchange of files, but also for users to simplify their download experience. Right now, for instance, if you download an audiobook, what you often get is just a bunch of MP3 files. Nothing wrong with that, but you do lose the granularity of a TOC and any of the metadata that you might have gotten had you have downloaded a full package instead. Right now, we're looking for feedback. Today, what we're doing is we're in the process of reaching out to publishers independently, one at a time, to get their feedback on how our specification might potentially change their process. Right now, we kind of get two arguments. The argument against is that audiobook publishing is very well established. The companies are comfortable with the process that they have right now. They are happy to produce different files for different retailers because the workflow is in place. It is solid. We do not want to change it. And the argument for it is to moving to a single specification actually eliminates the need for multiple workflows. It opens audiobooks to the modern web platform. It brings new features to the product, and it simplifies file delivery. And retailers who have implemented a similar standard have seen massive reductions in processing time. I can say this for Kobo. We introduced a standard ourselves for our new publishers. It is very similar to the audiobook standard, and when the audiobook standard actually comes out, we will be moving to it. And I can say that we went from having a 15-day processing time through some of our retailers to 10 minutes. It is a massive change for us. It means that publishers can swiftly deliver files, especially if things change, and it's made a big deal. It's been a big deal for us. But we need the support of the publishing industry. Specifications are fueled almost exclusively by feedback. Without feedback, we risk not providing what is needed for our content creators and our users. So please log issues on our GitHub, contact us via email, tweet at me, send me a DM, I don't care. We want to hear your thoughts, and we want to hear the problems that you are facing or potentially ideas that you have for features that we may be missing. But what happens next? What are we working on? So today, there's a first public working draft of the audiobook spec. You can go online and you can read it anytime. This summer, we are doing more outreach to the industry. We are looking for more feedback. We are looking for implementers. If you are interested in making audiobooks happen yourselves, please let us know. And we are going to be preparing implementation and test plans. This fall, we are looking to move to candidate recommendation. We'll be looking for implementers to adopt and to provide implementations and test for us. Please keep in touch. You can log issues on our GitHub. The address is there. You can email me directly at my email address, or you can tweet at me on Twitter. I happily answer my messages when I can. But thank you.
Thank you very much. Maybe we've got questions in the room. Yes.
Oh, no questions.
Quick question.
Of course.
Have you had feedback from Amazon, Audible yet on this?
I have not. I've tried. I have reached out to them. They have not provided feedback.
We'll try again.
Keep trying.
Keep trying. I will just add a note about at EDRLab. We should have started, and we didn't have the time to interrogate our members about what they think about this proposal that we have made, and so we'll act as a bridge between these members and non-members. We are open with the W3C people. I am participating to this group, so it's easy. Mm-hmm. For those who don't like to interact via GitHub.
Yeah.
So we can do it. We can discuss the recommendation that will come with them. We can really help on that. Also, on the Reid side, EDRLab has already implemented on, as Averdita said yesterday, on some devices, an audiobook standard, which is the Reid Web Publication Manifest-based standard, which is really a sibling on the future W3C web standard. So it's already even used by the Internet Archive, by the MARC as is. So already in Reid you can use almost the W3C format, and we will add W3C format support as app, as usual. Rick.
Thank you, Wendy. It's clear that it's one of the outcome of IDPF being merged to the W3C, as I shown at the beginning of the summit yesterday morning. One of these very important group is the publishing working group, and that's the kind of work that this publishing working group is doing for the future of publishing inside the web and using fully the web standards. But it shows us also that this merging is also driven by business and use case. It's not a theoretical in the air to build recommendations to do nice things. It's really to answer the needs of the publishing industry. So we are confident that this publishing at W3C with the publishing working group will answer the needs of our industry to benefit from new standards, and the figures that Wendy gave about processing all these files differently from a standard and without standard are impressive. So thank you, Wendy.
Do we have some other questions before we move on? I don't see any hand rising.
That's okay, they can talk to me.
So, thank you very much, Wendy, for this great presentation.